Let's move right along to the final concept. This is titled Genomics Curriculum Development for Medical Students, and Heather Colley, Program Director in the Division of Genomic Medicine, will present the concept.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank everybody for the opportunity to present this concept. I'd like to start off by thanking my colleagues, Louis Cubano, Rob Rowley, and Terry Manolio. We all work together as a team for the development of this particular concept. Next slide. So for this presentation, I will discuss the impetus for this particular concept, the program goals, the planned NIH mechanism of support, and finally open the floor for council discussion. Next slide. At the February 2020 council meeting, council member Wendy Chung gave an update on the NHGRI Training Task Force recommendations. And one of these recommendations that came out of this report really encouraged NHGRI to consider opportunities that would allow for the development and dissemination of training materials and genomics curricula to target individuals at various career levels. Next slide. Looking back at the recent NHGRI strategic plan, this idea was reinforced in the plan by calling for more opportunities to improve genomic literacy among healthcare professionals. Next slide. So with genomics becoming more integrated into healthcare, we must really think carefully about how we're going to educate future healthcare professionals. And the goal of this particular concept is to support institutions, i.e. medical schools, either schools that are offering MD degrees or DO degrees, that can develop a genomic curricula for medical students. The curriculums would be designed to improve overall genetic competencies, and students would be able to earn a Master of Science degree in areas such as genomics, genomic medicine, or genomic informatics. Next slide. For mechanism, we're proposing using an R25 since this is curriculum development. The awards would be limited to 3 years and would be non-renewable. The R25 would not provide actual direct support for students, but again, this is for the institutions to be able to develop the curricula. We're proposing a budget of $150,000 direct costs per year for 3 years. And we also want to make sure that these training materials are made freely available and widely shared with the scientific and educational communities. Next slide. So that's the end of my formal presentation. At this point, we can move on to the council discussion, and we do have 3 discussants that are assigned, but we welcome all council members' feedback. Rudy, did you want me to start with calling on council discussants, or do you want to do that?
Sure, I think it's, let's try Raphael first here.
Perfect, thank you.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. So it's something I've learned through the last 20 years of my career is that there's a big need. There was a big need 20 years ago, and it's still there for schools of medicine to teach more quantitative skills, in particular statistical concepts. So I'm hoping that this concept helps with that. There is currently no organized, as far as I can tell, effort from schools to change their curriculum. You do see it in different places, but there's no concerted effort that I can see, and I think having a funding mechanism like this will incentivize medical schools to start to move forward with teaching their students more computational skills. In particular, I think just simple statistical concepts would be a big improvement if everybody that's going to go into medical research had like the fundamentals of statistics, but also programming and with data, being able to examine data with modern tools, not with Excel or point and click software. So I'm, as you can tell, I am very supportive.
Thank you so much. I appreciate those comments. Very helpful.
Howard Chang, how about you next?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. I'm also very strongly supportive of this concept. I think there's an increasing need really for genomic literacy in the healthcare setting. I think patients are coming in more now, having read about either some genetic news or having specific genomic information they want to basically talk about with their their physician. And this is really, I think, an important need. And I think this will be a mechanism that would sort of give some impetus, some incentive for medical school to develop this program. My comment is about the potential group that could be served. One is that this current concept focuses on medical students, which I think is a great concept. I think similarly, we might think about the possibility that folks who are a little further along, let's say in residency training or clinical residency training or fellowship, actually they might really know that like in their career path, they're going to need to know genomics, that they might be potentially eligible for this mechanism. And I think related to that, many of our PhD students have a strong interest in translational research. They want to be able to apply genomic insights into medical field. This might be also very appropriate for them.
Thank you, Dr. Chang. I really appreciate the comments.
Wendy?
So I'm also very strongly supportive. I'll point out this is, in my mind, relatively inexpensive in terms of the bang you're going to get for your buck. And I do think, just for those of you who don't teach in medical schools, increasingly many of our programs do have opportunities for medical students to get a master's degree and in fact graduate still in the same 4 years. And so many medical students who are highly motivated are actually searching for formalized master's programs to be able to get research ready and credentialed in terms of doing this. And these are individuals who may or may not become genomicists per se. They may be pulmonologists or cardiologists or neurologists, but they do like the idea of what I'll call cross-training. And so I've seen it in our students at Columbia, definitely looking for programs like this. And when they've chosen individual courses in our graduate program that are geared towards different learners, they're not really fulfilled in terms of exactly the niche they need. So I think there really is this particular type of education that's, geared towards individuals who are medically inclined in whatever way. I will point out what Howard says, and I can say that I've seen this organically evolve, is that we've offered courses, for instance, like this to medical students, but we've allowed other people to come in. So as an example, in our CTSA, our TL1 fellows very commonly hop on board with this. Those are individuals that are already clinical fellows. So, they finished their residency, they're now clinical fellows. Many postdoctoral fellows come into this. So it's almost sort of build it, Howard, and they will come type of thing. And the other part that, I think it's possible to do with this is you don't have to make it hardcore, just for instance, statistics or biomedical informatics. You can have a multitude of topics within a course that really give you the breadth, and everything from LC topics to, the hardcore statistics and systems biology. And I think the learners actually really like seeing the integration of that. And that's been something that's been quite popular. So I'm very strongly supportive. The one thing I will say is that the field is moving so rapidly that, number one, be ready to pivot. So if you're building enduring resources in this, just build the flexibility to do little updates with this. And under COVID times, one of the things that in teaching our medical students, I found quite helpful is to be able to have, and I know some people have heard me say this, but resources that they can do in self-study, and then have really exercises that are active learning exercises. And, if people can do things like that, to be able to have resources that can be multiplied, curricula that can be shared, enduring resources that make it easier for people in their local institutions to beg, borrow, and steal those, I think you'll actually see a multitude of, courses like this blossoming around the country. So I'm very supportive. I think there's going to be a big return on the investment for this.
Thank you so much, Wendy.
Lisa, go ahead.
Sure. To follow up on Wendy's comments, first, I would echo that I think this is an opportunity to introduce some of the LC topics into the curriculum, and that's certainly beneficial for this medical audience. It also is an opportunity, I think, to, in light of Wendy's observation about how rapidly the field is moving, it's an opportunity to prepare people with a way of thinking or a set of skills that can be applied and evolve with the field. So I would urge that on the scientific side, as well as on the LC side, that this isn't just about imparting kind of factual content, but developing a way of thinking and a way of accessing resources that will be useful, in genomic medicine for years to come.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments for Heather about this concept? Okay, can I get a motion to approve the concept? Second. All in favor, please hold your hands up. Thank you. Is anyone opposed? Is anyone abstaining? Thank you very much. Thank you, Heather. Great
Thank you.
presentation. So this went very quickly, very efficiently. They were good discussions. And I'm going to propose we just forge ahead.